I was so new, I had no idea. I'm like, but, I mean, it took me a lot of time to put this together. And so I'm like, well, I'll still do it. You know, so I dressed up, painted myself green, and I couldn't wash it off after. And so I had green all over my neck, and I had photo ops the next day, and I was freaking out. I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm gonna be a little green in my photo ops. And then we took all the photos, and I was green. And then I got to think, I'm like, oh, this is actually like a nice little memento. It wasn't that crazy. I'm like, this is like a nice little memento. If I ever see one of these photo ops, I'll know exactly which one it was. It was the time I dressed up as the proper Hulk, and I couldn't wash off the green. And so that was fun. And then Comic-Con was going to happen in San Diego, and I'm like, awesome, I'm going to go to Comic-Con. Last year was my first time I dressed up as Finn from Adventure Time. I'm like, this year I want to dress up again, still watching Adventure Time. I don't want to do Finn again. Jake is so obvious. Like, I'll do Princess Bubble. So
it's an obvious choice.
Right, obviously, right? So I put together my costume for Princess Bubblegum, and I had it ready. I was so excited for Comic-Con. And then I ended up having to work through the weekend, and I couldn't make it. And I was so upset. I can't believe it. I got to go to Comic-Con. Like, I got my costume and everything, you're making it work. And I was fine. I'm like, okay, well, but I'm going to Dallas at the end of the month anyways, and that's a convention. I can wear a costume. And this was because this was my third convention, and it seemed like such a normal idea. So I brought my costume to Dallas. Obviously, I didn't tell anyone because I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Because you see like 30 Castiels at every con. I thought this was the thing that people did. So I put on my costume, right? And there's like 5 minutes till my panel. And as soon as I look in the mirror, I painted myself pink. I freak out. Because I'm looking at myself like, hold on, I can't believe I'm doing this. But there was only 5 minutes left, and it took me like an hour to put it on. And I couldn't take it off in time, and so I'm like, okay, Osric, just commit to this. And so I go out the door, and the volunteer that was there to come get me, just her jaw just dropped. I'm like, hi. And so she's like, she doesn't even ask. She's just being super polite, just walks me down the hall. We passed Richard on the way there, and he's like, what? What is this? I'm like, I'm Princess Bubblegum. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's just shaking his head. He's like, all right, let's do this. And so I do it, and it turned out, it was really fun. I'm like, oh, this is great. I had the organizer come up to me after. He's like, Osric, I've been doing conventions for 32 years, and I can safely say that I have never seen anything like this. And then I started getting calls from my manager and my booking agents and stuff. And they're like, Osric, we received a couple of complaints, people go to these conventions to meet Osric Chau, not Princess Bubblegum. So it's like, you really should have, shouldn't have done that. I'm like, I thought people liked it. I'm sorry. So I did dress up for Chicago after that, but unfortunately, Chicago was the Halloween convention, because it was the weekend of Halloween, and I was the only one who didn't dress up that weekend. And it didn't occur to me, and so of course they all made fun of me for that. It's like, so you dress up for Dallas, but you don't dress up for Halloween. Anyways, after that, I just got so riled up. Like, all right, I'm gonna dress up for Burbank. It doesn't matter what. And it might be my last convention ever, but I'm gonna do it for fun. And so I had a friend who just saw my Princess Bubblegum. She's like, hey, I have a Rapunzel dress. It's a small. I don't know if you'll fit, but you can use it if you want. I'm like, yeah, bring it over. And so she brought it over, and I'm squeezing in it, and I'm like, okay, it fits. I just can't tie it up in the back. I don't need to. And it fit. And so went out, got a wig, braided it, just straightened it, braided it, bought Pascal, bought a giant frying pan off of Amazon, and I think Rapunzel's still my favorite because I was just really proud of how it all came together. And I did it, and it was like the best thing ever. And you know, now for all the North American events, they even have this little blurb of what cosplay is, because I don't think they knew before. And that's how cosplay started. So it wasn't. I mean, I definitely loved Tango the movie. I loved Adventure Time, but it wasn't as premeditated as things should be. No, I think the best things usually come as accidents, and that was definitely a lucky accident. And seeing Jared's face when he saw Princess Bubble, I don't know if any of you saw that yet, but his jaw is really big, and so it drops really like a long way. I'm like, that's great. Just for that moment, it was worth it. Yeah, cosplay. And so I'm cosplaying a lot this year. I wish I could have picked something from Madrid, but it kind of sprung up last minute, so I didn't have time to prepare. But I do have some good ones coming up this year that I'm really excited for.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. We're actually really similar in age. You know, we're 4 years apart, and we grew up on a lot of the same things. We're very similar types of people. We're very competitive. We're also very proud of a lot of the same things. We're both gamers and stuff. So yeah, Jared's definitely a guy I would hang out to on a day-to-day basis. I probably wouldn't wrestle him again, but so yeah. I mean, he would be that dinosaur that I would love to have as a child. You're welcome. Okay, let's do another one. This time do it faster. Give us some logs. And it sounded so bad, and there weren't I don't think I hit a full note ever. It was just like all this, it sounded like horse noises and dying cats and stuff.
You are doing martial arts because I saw on the internet that you were doing cool things.
Yeah, so I did I was a stuntman before I was an actor. And I did Chinese martial arts. It's called Wushu. It's basically what Jet Li does. But I trained for 10 years. My last year I made the Canadian national team. And so I was very competitive. And then my first big role I ever got for acting was because I could do my own stunts. Basically it was a kung fu movie that was happening in China. I just came from China. And they needed a Chinese guy that could speak English, that could do their own stunts, that could live in China for 3 months and kind of stand it because, there is a lot of, it wasn't like a Canadian or American set. Like, okay, sometimes you might not have like a fully running bathroom or running water, or there's not really any restaurants there. Like, it was like, it's a rural town in China, and I just came from China, like, yeah, I'm okay with that. And so I was really the only person that they had that could do everything that they needed. And so that got me into acting. I haven't really trained that much since, but I'll do a drop in every now and then. Martial arts is, a big part of who I am in terms of how I was raised and, how I developed as a person. So.
Do you want to practice other kind of martial arts or not?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you want to practice other kind of activities or martial arts?
I would, and I try to every now and then, but just through wear and tear. I have a pretty bad knee, and if I used to train 3 times a day, every single day, and that's too much. And so your body, your joints, it takes a toll on you, right? So if I ever get even close, even half of that, I'll start to feel pains in my knees and my shins. I'm not as young and I don't recover as fast as I used to, so I can't really abuse my body, but my entire body cracks. Should I freak you out? This freaks some people out, but I don't know if you can hear that, but my neck cracks, my back cracks, my ankles crack, my knees crack, my toes, my fingers, everything will crack as I walk through the street. See that? It's like I have to do both, and it's not like I want to, but it's okay, if I don't do it every day, it's like being your own chiropractor, you kind of have to adjust yourself, otherwise you feel like this weird sensation. And that's 3 years and years of training, so if you're training something, throw in rest and recovery in there, it's quite important. I didn't do that as a kid because I was always behind and I wanted to catch up.
Yes, I know the feeling. Because
Yeah.
I practice martial arts too.
Awesome.
So too.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, if there's ever a chance, I'll definitely want to do like an action movie where I can train for it. Then I'll do it. But until then, I'll probably just save myself. I know I need to stretch. I know I need to work out still. So, I try to keep myself busy so I don't go out of shape.